I'm very, very uncomfortable with it, and I don't know what it is. But all I know is it's making me feel dirty and disgusting and wrong. And I'm being told, don't tell anyone about this because, you know, this is our little secret and stuff. And it's only as I've got a bit older that I realised these guys, these two older men, they were sexually assaulting me.
Yeah.
That has obviously stayed with me my entire life. It to my mum or my dad, because my dad was let's say my dad was a lunatic, and if he'd have found out who these people were, he would have killed them, and my mother would have felt like she'd have failed. So I kept it inside for the whole of my life, really. The incident was it was a 12-hour armed standoff with the police. They arrived to the premises. They'd heard what they believed to be gunshots. They heard gunshots coming from the premises, so the armed police turned up, and I was banging doors and crashing around because I was having a psychotic episode at the time. They surrounded the house, and there was all armed officers pointing guns up at me and stuff, and then they were telling me to come out with your hands up and you won't be harmed. But as I was looking out the window, I could see them whispering, saying what we're going to do is we're going to shoot him dead, then we're going to bury him in the forest, and we're going to burn his body and put acid over his body. Now I could hear them saying these things, but they're not going to be saying these things. This was the psychosis, right? I was just in pieces. Like I didn't know what to do. I thought they were going to burn the house down. I was calling out for help because I wanted a firefighter to come and help me, because the only person I trusted was a firefighter at the time. It sounds mad. 12 hours this standoff happened, armed bloody standoff, and eventually they got into the house and they beat the living shit out of me for a good couple of minutes, rolled me around, and then.
Hi Shane.
Hi. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Long time no see.
It's been a long time. Alhamdulillah, all praise to God. I'm fantastic, thank you. Yeah. Good. It's been a long time. It's been a while.
It has. Back in the days when we were, well, I had a flashback earlier to when we were sitting on the sofa of that girl's flat, and you just took your top off. Maybe I shouldn't talk about that, actually, when she was like, do you remember that party? Do you remember that party?
Essex Road, Jay's house. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That day very well. I just come back from a festival that day. I come back from We Are Festival, and I was completely pinging. But yeah, I remember that day.
I'm pretty sure we all were.
Good.
Yeah.
Good days.
Indeed. So thank you so much for doing this. This is episode 3. I decided to obviously put yours first because you're the most important person to me. And we've been friends for so long, and I just think, wow, like what an incredible life that you have led. So if we just can start with like going back to the beginning, like what was your childhood actually like for you?
Fine. Okay. So I'm 35 now. I was born in North London, in Tottenham, born into a somewhat loving family, good mother, good father, quite a socio-economically low background. I mean, we were quite poor growing up. My father obviously worked his ass off to provide for me, my sister and my mother. And I had somewhat of a normal childhood, as you'd say. But crime, drug addicts, shootings and stabbings, robberies, that was commonplace where I was growing up. Like, if you hear gunshots at night, my mum and dad used to say, it's only cars backfiring, so don't worry about it. It's all good. So we grew up in that kind of area. So it wasn't a thing. I mean, I had friends, you know, we were mischievous, we were naughty, but we were somewhat good kids. And then obviously as I got a little bit older, into the end of primary school, I started to develop traits of ADHD, OCD, not so much the depression in that sort of age, but I had things that were certainly different. I was different to other children. I had to be taught in a specific way. Sitting down in a classroom environment, it wasn't my kind of thing. I was climbing the walls. So it was only until year 6 that someone actually put some time and effort into me, gave me hard love, and really, really started to focus me, which was what I needed. And then obviously the transition from primary to secondary school, that's where everything completely changed. And I was told at that point that not exposed is the right word, show traits of borderline personality disorder, anxiety, depression, identified as autistic, borderline autistic, and ADHD. So these were things that I thought were just normal, but the world looked completely different from my perspective. So in terms of making and keeping friends, it was difficult for me. It was difficult. So in secondary, sorry, go ahead.
Just going to ask, so were you actually died? Because I feel like when I was hanging out with you around that, what were we in our 20s? I don't even know anymore. But yeah, like, were you diagnosed then? Because you said about autism borderline, like I've got borderline, as you know, but I don't know if you knew, you said you thought you had it then, but when were you actually diagnosed with that?
No, I was diagnosed late in life with that. It's only I was diagnosed at about 30, and I'm 35 now, so it's been a recent diagnosis. But it just thinking back to those days and how I would act with people, spaces with lots of people in it, how I felt about touching. Like, I could never touch people touching me, and me touching other people. It was just not a thing. Like, I couldn't even hold my mother's hand. So if we were crossing the road, she'd have to hold my arm, because physical contact for me, maintaining eye contact for me, was always difficult. And I never knew why. Like, as a child, I didn't crave love and affection as much as other children do. I was more of a just keep myself to myself type of thing, and I found it very, very awkward. I mean, quite sad to say, the only time me kissing my mother and giving her a cuddle was when she was stone cold dead on the bed in UCH when she died, and that was the only time I could bring myself to actually give her a kiss, even though obviously I loved her with my whole heart. It was strange. So growing up, I was very, very confused at why I felt this way, but it was my norm. And it's only as I've got a bit older that the psychiatrists have identified the autistic traits in me, the ADHD traits, the borderline personality traits, and obviously moving further on into it, the schizophrenic traits. So these have always been with me, but they've only started to present themselves in the last couple of years. I know it sounds really silly. I used to be late to school every day. I was late into secondary school every single day because I had to do my tie and undo my tie, then do my tie, then undo it, then do it. And at 5 times I'd have to do it every single day, because if I didn't do that, something in my head was going to happen. Something bad was going to happen. So that was the obsessive compulsive part of me. And I never explained it to the teachers, never used to say, oh, I'm late because this, that, you're bad, you're late, you're on report. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm not interested. School's not for me. So, you know what I mean? That was how it was.
Me too. Absolutely. If someone met you, let's say when you were 15, what do you think they would have thought of you then?
I would have thought they'd have thought I was a little shit. And am I allowed to swear? And say the S word?
Oh, fucking, this is called Unhinged. Yeah.
Unhinged. Yeah, they'd think I was a little bit fucking unhinged. They'd be like, this kid, he's not a bad kid. He's not like he's definitely a tearaway, and he's definitely what did they call me? A class clown. I would interrupt others learning, and it was just because I wasn't interested in what I was doing. It's crazy now. I love to learn. Since being in prison, I love to read. I love to learn. I love to expand my knowledge in my brain, and I like to have good conversations. I like discourse. I like other people's opinions. But back then, I was very narrow-minded. I didn't want to hear anything. I was just interested in doing what I was doing, and that was bunking off of school, and that kind of stuff. So as a 15, 16, 17-year-old, I was just more interested in messing around, making money. And as I said, yesterday, I lost my dad at a young age. So at 14, my dad died quite suddenly. And it was just, it was out the frying pan into the fire. So now I've got a mother and a sister who, let's be fair, mother was on benefits, sister's young at school. I had to provide for them, and I had to provide for them by any means necessary. And whether that was illegal or legal, a legitimate type of work I used to do. I worked for a man who would do removals from do gardens and remove the rubbish from the back gardens. And I would do 12-hour days at 14 years old, and I'd get paid £40 at the end of that day. And I would graft all day, every single day, just trying to put food on our table. So, it was a baptism of fire.
Yeah, it's funny because you never told, obviously, you told me certain things about abuse and things like that, if you don't mind me saying that, when you were younger, but you never said about any of that. Yeah. So, because you always carried yourself, do you want to go into that, or shall I move on?
You go into it, it's fine. It's a dark place, and I don't remember it. I don't remember exactly. I just remember being very, very young in a school environment, where I was supposed to be looked after and protected. And there was a number of incidents on a number of occasions where there were adults within the school who, I don't know who they were. I don't know why they were there. They could have been contractors. They could have been, but I just remember thinking what they're asking me to do is very, very weird. And I'm very, very uncomfortable with it, and I don't know what it is, but all I know is it's making me feel dirty and disgusting and wrong, and I'm being told don't tell anyone about this because this is our little secret and stuff. And it's only as I've got a bit older that I realized these guys, these two older men, they were sexually assaulting me. So it's that has obviously stayed with me my entire life. It to my mum or my dad, because my dad was let's say my dad was a lunatic, and if he'd have found out who these people were, he would have killed them, and my mother would have felt like she'd have failed. So I kept it inside for the whole of my life, really.
And I'm so sorry to hear that. And as you know, I've been through similar. Can I ask, just purely from because of the last interview I did was sort of a very right-wing perspective and everything like that, what race were these men, if you don't mind me asking?
These are two white geezers. These are white men. These were but probably in their 30s. These are white men. Two white men.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I just wanted to get some different perspectives, obviously, on board of those sort of things. It's absolutely horrible, and I went through a lot of it. Yeah. And what did success, I guess, look like to you before everything unraveled? Like, what were your goals and aspirations?
Goals and aspirations was literally, it sounds very silly to me. My idea of success was just to be able to put food on the table for my family. Walk around Tesco's. This is how small my idea of success was. To walk around Tesco's and fill up a trolley full of food and not have to worry about how much it's going to be. Not standing there calculating in my brain, oh, can I afford this? Can I afford that? No, I can't afford any of this. So now I'm embarrassed at the checkout and I've got to obviously put things back. The idea of my success was just being able to provide for my family and to find some sort of happiness. And that was my first idea of success. Then when I got into the working world, it was obviously, I want to be a millionaire. I want a nice car, a nice house, so on. And, the way life pans out, it didn't work out that way for me. I went down a different route. Mm-hmm. In terms of success now, my idea of success now is to live a humble life, treat others the way you'd like to be treated, be as charitable as you can. In the religion I follow as a Muslim, my ultimate idea of success is every Muslim's great attainment, which is earning paradise. And the only way you earn paradise as a Muslim is to not associate others with God, pray 5 times a day, give charity, and be a good and humble person. So that's now my current idea of success. Obviously, I want to be successful in business and successful in religion and in my personal affairs, but my idea of success now is just to live like a humble human being. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, because I was hanging out with you when you were a successful recruitment. I mean, you've always been successful, but you're a successful recruitment agent. But you were kind of like, we were partying, I guess. Like we were partying all the time. Like I'm always trying to get off alcohol and things like that. But I just wondered when the point where it turned from, okay, well, first of all, tell me about like your mum. Was that the turning point from when partying became fun to like extreme and addiction, or was there something else?
No, I think I didn't start drinking until I was 18. And obviously being from an English and Irish background, drinking is a heavy part is drinking is a heavy part of the culture. So it was going out and getting pissed up, having a great time while getting absolutely wasted. But for me, it was always like alcohol, and it makes me laugh because alcohol, we call straight drinks spirits, right?
Yeah.
Because these things, they bring spirits out in you. They bring the evil side out of you. So from when I started drinking, that is when the real issues with the police and crime started for me. So I would drink and that would lead to fights, arrests, jail time. And it was always a downhill spiral for me. I went to not Alcoholics Anonymous, but to like a rehabilitation type program to get off of alcohol a number of times. But obviously being British, growing up in London, the culture is to go out and get pissed on a Friday. That's what we do. We work all week, and on Friday we go out and get absolutely hammered. Saturday we get hammered. Sunday we justify our getting hammered by just a hair of the dog. We'll have a couple of drinks, we feel a little bit better. But still, that was months from the age of 18 till the age of 30. I mean, I didn't touch drugs until I was about 21. And when I first tried cocaine, it was like, wow, I found this wonder drug. I can now talk to everyone. My social anxiety completely goes away. I want to be active. But then obviously with the good sides, you got the honeymoon period where it's all good and you think, wow, this is amazing, to the point when you're like, okay, well, it's Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Now we're at Monday morning. I should be at work. I've just ordered another gram of gear. We're stitching at 4 a.m. Where does this stuff end? Where does it end? And unfortunately, I stayed on top of it for a while. But then it started to happen every weekend. I was out 52 weeks of the year, every single weekend without fail, until the point of going to work and being told, mate, you no longer have a job, turning up to work hammered, doing a livener just to make myself feel better throughout the day. It become a daily routine. That was purely alcohol related. That's what started. And obviously, when I got involved in the party scene when I was growing up, without being too big-headed, I was quite a bulky guy. So for wherever I went, it was always no trouble tonight, mate. Or if there was trouble, someone would look at me and they would want to start a fight, and I was always getting into tear-ups, getting arrested, and being stupid. So I moved away from the straight party scene. I started partying with the gay guys because they were more friendly. They were more open with regards to taking substances. Their parties seemed to go on forever and they didn't ever stop. And there were girls there that I used to get attention from, and it was all good. But that party went on for 5 years. And then that's when the real problem started. Like when the fun stops becoming fun and it starts becoming habitual and addictive, that's when it's time to stop. And I definitely found that was the case. Like we were out 4 or 5 days in the start, and then the anxiety and then the depression would kick in, and then you think, oh right, we can just bang another line and we're back to being good. So that's where the warning signal for me was, and I should have stopped, but that's where we didn't stop. That's where we continued to go.
Mm-hmm. And then so if you could tell me, like, and this is a really tough question, like, what was it like with your mum? Because I remember you said that she was diagnosed and within a week she was just deteriorated, and then that was it? Or
so I've had many times. So when my dad passed, obviously I was too young to drink and take drugs. So my outlet for my aggression was fighting, was petty crime, was making as much money as I possibly could, and was just being a little shit tearaway. Didn't want to engage with the bereavement services. I thought, I'm a big man now. I don't need to engage with these people. What can they do for me that I can't do for myself? I don't need to engage with them. Many years just plateauing, but stupidly, like not getting any better, not getting any worse. So I learned we never get over our parents dying, but we learn to live with it. That's what I learned, to live with my dad's passing. And I was making money and I was provided for mum and sister. We were eating, so it was all good. So I started to get a little bit better. I'm a trained engineer. I'm a HVAC engineer by my trade. That's what I do. I can earn good money when I work. So after that passing, and I'm 17, 18 now, I'm starting to work, start moving up a level. And then we had a couple of close friends who died. So I went back down again, started dipping, started drinking again, started using drugs, started partying, started having just stupid amounts of sex for no reason, like just trying to fill a void that was missing in my life. And then a few incidents happened where I was arrested for being drunk and disorderly or assaulting a police officer and things like that. And they basically said, mate, you carry on like this, you're going to end up in jail. So fixed my life up, bought a nice car, had my own house. Things were going very, very well. Had a big contract where I was working, earning ridiculous amounts of money, making legit money. And I hadn't seen my mum for about 6 months by this point, and I got a call from my sister. I was working on Tottenham Court Road, and my sister called me up crying. I said, what's going on? And she said, you need to come to UCLH right now. We need to talk. Mummy's in hospital. I said, and automatically, straight away, I knew, because if I don't do things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, something bad had happened. And that recent time, I hadn't been doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. I'd forgotten about that. So now the bad thing was happening. So yeah, I've rocked up to UCLH and my mum's there, hooked up to a respirator. So I've walked in and she's there hooked up to the respirator and my heart starts going and straight away, cancer. I know she's got cancer. She didn't have to tell me she had cancer. I knew she had cancer. So they gave me they told me her diagnosis. She had stage 4 lung cancer, which had moved to her lymph nodes, and her lungs were filling up with fluid and her heart was being damaged in the whole process. You know what, they sold us a dream. Don't worry, you know, it's all fine. We're going to be able to give her stem cell research and we're going to get her on chemo. Let's have it right. And no disrespect to the NHS, they do work hard. But my mother worked within the health system. She knew something was wrong with her. She was telling them of these pains that she was having for over a year. They told her she was a hypochondriac. And they told her that she had acid reflux. So by the time that they identified that it was cancer, it was far too late. And I've walked in, my sister's like, no, mummy's going to be okay. I had to pull my sister to the side, gave mum a kiss again, obviously really difficult for me to do. And I said, listen, we need to prepare for mummy's death because she's not going to last long, because my mother looked like a skeleton when I saw her. And yeah, I was doing so well. And as I said to you yesterday, when I walked in and she saw how well I looked, like my skin, my stature, she could tell that I wasn't on the drugs. She cried about through happiness. She was like, you look so well. And it's just a shame that it was at that time of her life that she saw me looking and doing so well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So I'm so sorry. This is making me cry. And I guess after, well, first of all, that's like absolutely, I don't know what, I probably would have done exactly what you did, to be honest, afterwards. Like, I destroyed when my brother died and everything. But yeah, he died outside. Just to say about the NHS as well. I do love the NHS, but my brother had a blood clot, died outside the hospital, literally like a foot outside the hospital. They told him, go wait in the in the waiting room with a massive leg blood clot. He should have been lying down, immediate heparin shot. He died outside the hospital in the rain in a pile of like fucking, Anyway, so, but understand the trauma. As we were quite similar with our, I think that, it's just, that was my last, no, it wasn't. Anyway, so ADHD, did you ever blame yourself? Did you have a God at that time? I think you were agnostic at that point, weren't you?
No, I had no God. I had no God at that time, and I didn't. I believed in some kind of a higher power, because every time we have a traumatic incident or an incident that we come close to death, because throughout my life I've had incidences where I've had times where people have tried to shoot and stab me, so I've come very, very close to death on a number of occasions. And at that time, when you think, wow, this is the end, I'm about to meet whoever my maker is, I'm going to meet them, you do sort of pray to a higher power and think please save me in my moment of need, in my hour of need. But after my mum, so on the day that I saw my mum for the first time, it was must have been a Thursday, or maybe Wednesday. Wednesday went, Thursday went, Friday went. It was the last opportunity. Unfortunately, I got held up at work for some reason. I turned up to the hospital, I was half an hour too late, and then on the Monday morning I was on my way to work, and then my sister called crying her eyes out, you got to get to the hospital, it's time, mummy's gone, she's passed. So we're talking a space of 5 or 6 days when she was diagnosed to when she died. And at that point, if I believed there was a God, the God, astaghfirullah, which means I beg God for forgiveness. If there was a God, he wasn't doing me right. He was doing me wrong. He's taking my father, my friends. He's just taking my mother, and not just taking her in a peaceful way. When I walked into obviously the room where she died, she was in so much pain before she died that she'd basically ripped all of her teeth out. She'd clawed her teeth out, and her jaw was like, her mouth was wrenched open. She'd lost all of her weight, and it didn't look like my mother. She looked like a skeleton on the bed. So I've literally smashed the room up, gone absolutely fucking crazy, like told the doctors that you're all fucking arseholes because they said that we drained her lungs 3 or 4 times, and we don't have the resources to keep draining her lungs. And I said, you don't have the fucking resources. You drain her lungs 1,000 times if you have to. Fuck me. Yeah. So obviously I lost my shit. My mum was seeing, this is one of the things that really broke me down. My mum was seeing this guy, big 6'4" guy, lovely. He was a gentle giant. And I remember he walked in, and he's a stoic man. He's a strong man. He was someone I did look up to. I didn't like him to start with because no one could ever replace my father. And when he saw my mum, now I'm a big guy, yeah. He's a big guy. When he saw her, he just completely lost it. He was in floods of tears. He collapsed on the floor. I had to pick him up, and I had to just cuddle him. And I was just trying to be the strength for everyone that they needed. But at that time, I don't know what I needed. I was lost. I was like, I've just seen my mother like this. So after I'd consoled everyone, I said, listen, I'm going to pop outside for some fresh air. I think I bought a crate of 20 Stellas or something like that. And I drank all 20 outside the hospital on the curb, drinking them until the pain went away, and the pain didn't go away. So I think that was the start of my 20-day spiral. Like, that was 20 days of nonstop drinking, drugs, behavior, man. That was I was up and down the UK in cabs everywhere, just trying to forget about what I've just seen and what just happened. Yeah, that was
that would have caused like severe PTSD. I can imagine flashbacks, everything. Like,
right? Yeah, that wasn't good at all.
So, like, what happened next? Then, what changed inside of you, and what happened after that?
So after the bender, when I was in hospital, they told me that, listen, your heart is under real pressure here. Your kidneys are almost failing. You need to change your life. You need to change the way that you're acting, or you're going to have renal failure if you continue living the way you're going to live. Your heart is obviously not as good as it should be. It took not just my mother dying for me to change. It took a few near misses, a few near times with death for me to really change. Like, the drinking and the drugs after my mum died, they went up, and they spiraled and to the point where I've got no money. I'm struggling for places to live. I'm really on the edge of being homeless, and just on the edge of just death, really. So I could go to it, but it's a it'd be a long list. There was a time when I got to the end of my tether, and I was seeing a girl at the time, and I had some not bad news from her. I had some shitty news from her, and I had a whole strip of pregabalin, some medication that I didn't used to take, but I had it anyway. So I think there was 20 pregabalins in this container. So I just went, you know what? Fuck this. 1, 2, 3, 4, all 20. Big bottle of vodka, a liter of vodka, just down, peace with whoever was who I was supposed to make a peace with, and just jumped in the river. And then I don't really remember much after that. I woke up, I was in hospital, very, very unwell. And then that was that. So we're just going to say, for the period after my mom died, for about a year, I was lost. I was just a lost soul, just not living life, just going along with life. So I wasn't achieving anything. I wasn't definitely being a good person. And it was one day, I was walking through Bow in East London, E3, and then I walked past the mosque, and I saw all the brothers in there. Just saw them all praying together, all talking, sharing food together. And I just said, you know what? If there was a God, let me go and try and find this God. Like, I went looking for God personally. And in Islam, we believe that when God is ready to accept you into Islam, he puts a shield over your heart. If he sees anything good in you, he starts to unlock the shield, and he starts to open your eyes and open your ears. Because someone who's doing bad in their life, and they don't see what they're doing badly, and they continue to transgress in their sin, God will make them think as if they're doing everything right, and they go into heaven. So God must have unlocked my heart a little bit, and I walked into that mosque, and then one of the first pillars of Islam is taking a shahada, and that is attesting that there's no God worthy of worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I talked to the brothers in the mosque and said, no pressure, but if you want to talk further, we can talk further. If you want to take your shahada today, and we'll teach you whatever you need to be taught. So on that day, I took my shahada, which meant I became a Muslim officially, shared food with the brothers, exchanged numbers with them, got the Quran, and then it was time for me to take it home and to start practicing, start reading, start learning, which I did, which was a very important step.
What was it that attracted you particularly, do you think, to that religion other than like Christianity or something like that?
I don't know too much about. I don't know a great deal about Christianity. I don't know a great deal about any of the other religions. I just know that in Islam, it's quite strict in terms of do's and don'ts. So drinking alcohol, taking drugs, sex before marriage, being undutiful to your parents and being undutiful to the needy, like is completely haram. I needed something that was strict and gave you. So the Quran is just it's a guide for humanity, man, to live in a righteous way. So for me personally, it appealed to me because of its conservative values and for its level of strictness. And if you live by the book and you die by the book, it promises you paradise. So if you live by the way that the Quran has asked us to live by, you're going to achieve paradise. And for me, when I started reading and when I started listening to surahs, my heart was softened and I just felt an immediate sense of relief. So if I had a nightmare, because I suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder from the several different things that happened in my life. If I have a nightmare and I will open the Quran and I'll start reading Surah 2, Al-Baqarah, the cow, right? I've got to read maybe 5 or 6 ayahs and that's me. Go back to sleep and I have no more worries, no more stress, and I feel so much better. So for me personally, I saw it work. And if I was to go into more detail about like that and the things I used to hear, the things I used to see, the thoughts and the feelings I used to have, the only thing that has ever made them go away. Now let's put it right. I'm on antipsychotics medication. I take metazapine, olanzapine. They had me on a plethora of antipsychotic medication. The only thing that has ever worked for my psychosis is 5 daily prayers. So Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, the 5 prayers every day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to fulfill. That is part of our obligation. Yeah. That is the second pillar of Islam, to establish 5 daily prayers. The only time that I ever feel complete, forget drugs, forget drink, forget sex, forget money, forget cars and houses and forget all of that. The only thing that's ever made me feel complete as a person is when I'm on my deen, when I read my Quran, and when I do my 5 daily prayers, and when I give my obligatory charity. That's the only time I've completely just gone. They're no longer there. They're no longer there.
That's lovely. And I've heard Jordan Peterson say similar. I mean, he's talking about a different religion, but it's a similar kind of explanation of that being the only thing that can genuinely heal a person. Just jumping back then, you were saying about like the psychosis. First of all, what was the first time you actually ended up in jail and like the psychosis, the real schizophrenia? And was it drug-induced psychosis, or have you now separated that from actual schizophrenia as opposed to drug-induced psychosis?
No, I have them. The first time I went to jail was years ago. It was only for a minor offence for actual bodily harm, and I wasn't there for a very long time. But when I went to prison to Belmarsh last year, which was so the incident that happened, I can talk about it because I got found not guilty of the incident. The incident was it was a 12-hour armed standoff with the police, where they arrived to the premises. They'd heard what they believed to be gunshots. They heard gunshots coming from the premises. So the armed police turned up, and I was we just attributed this to banging doors and crashing around because I was having a psychotic episode at the time. So they surrounded the house, and there was all armed officers pointing guns up at me and stuff. And then they were telling me to come out with your hands up and you won't be harmed. But as I was looking out the window, I could see them whispering, saying, what we're going to do is we're going to shoot him dead. Then we're going to bury him in the forest, and we're going to burn his body and put acid over his body. Now, I could hear them saying these things, but they're not going to be saying these things. This was the psychosis, right? I was just in pieces. Like I didn't know what to do. I thought they were going to burn the house down. I was calling out for help because I wanted a firefighter to come and help me, because the only person I trusted was a firefighter at the time. It sounds mad, but
no, it doesn't.
For 12 hours, 12 hours, this standoff happened, armed bloody standoff. And eventually they got into the house and they beat the living shit out of me for a good couple of minutes, rolled me around. And then one of them looked me directly in the eyes and said, from you're going to go missing. So, I mean, before this armed incident happened, I was walking around the house and I was tapping on the walls because I was so psychotic. I believed that people were living inside of the walls and I was being spied on, and there was an evil entity to ruin my life. And I was wondering, I always asked the question when they were trying to arrest me, what have I done wrong? Why do you guys want to end my life? What have I done wrong? Because with the psychosis, you feel this sense of persecution. You feel like you're being directly persecuted by an evil entity that you can't really put a finger on. Now, I won't lie to you, because at the time I wasn't on my medication and I was using drugs at the time. Let's have it right. This was technically a drug-induced psychotic episode, but they do happen of an organic nature. So that was for during the psychosis, and I think they put me in prison for possession of a firearm and 3 counts of what's it called, criminal damage. So I sat in Belmarsh for 6 months, and because they said they found a firearm but it had nothing to do with me, and I was found not guilty of the firearm. So then I was released. Yeah, I had to plead guilty to the criminal damage, and then I was released. But my time in Belmarsh was all I did in there was read the Quran, get my 5 daily prayers, and try and be as a good a human being as possible. And I came out like such a better person, like completely drink and drug free, didn't even smoke cigarettes. It was a real learning curve. Yeah. So after that I felt that they you get labeled, like when you, especially if you're a white reverted Muslim, they think that you're extreme and they think that you're kind of agenda. So I was asked some quite uncomfortable questions while I was in Belmarsh, like, do you see yourself, are you being radicalized, or are you radicalizing others, and who are you associating with, is that they have radical opinions? And I'm like, no, I am just a normal pious Muslim. I'm not some nutcase that the media tries to portray, and that's not me at all. I'm just a normal guy. I'm a normal British English boy. I just follow Islam. That's my chosen religion. So I came out of Belmarsh. I said to the judge, Alhamdulillah. As soon as he told me that I was found not guilty, he looked at me like I was some kind of traitor. And he's looking at me like, what did you say? And I said, Your Majesty. I said, Alhamdulillah. And I was out for 1 day, and then I was rearrested the next day, and then straight back into jail. Well, the charges that I was arrested for the next day were armed robbery, aggravated burglary, possession of a firearm, and actual bodily harm. And they had said that I had committed this crime years back, nothing to do with me. I have no knowledge of the event. But it was just like they were persecuting me. I came out, they gave me a day to just chill, and then bang, straight back into jail, straight back into Pentonville, and then into Thameside, where the judge obviously, the judge looked at my previous and said, well, he's been found not guilty of this last thing, which he said he wasn't guilty of. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to bail him. So they bailed me.
Okay.
Which again, alhamdulillah, they bailed me for that. But after I came out of Thameside, I found that the persecution from the police on me was it was too much. It was obviously because, as I said, being a white reverted Muslim and them having no firearms convictions, but being arrested for them plenty of times, they think that I'm something I'm not. So when I came out of Belmarsh, when I came out of Thameside, I think our door got put through like 3 times within the space of about 4 weeks. So they kept raiding the house. On the 3rd time, they raided the house, and we had a dog, George, and because they couldn't pin anything onto me, they decided to fuck it. Let's take his dog. Let's piss him off that way. So they took the dog. So
what did they put him in the pound? What did that happen?
They put him in the kennels. He's been in there for months and months and months now, and we're trying to fight to get him back, but they're not really willing to get him back. So it seems like anything they could do to try and draw me out, to piss me off, is what they were trying to do. Because obviously, when they raided the house on the 2nd occasion, they phoned my partner up and they said, when we raided the house, we found an amount of Qurans. Can we ask you, are you being radicalized? And I just thought, But because we've got Islamic reading materials in the house, doesn't mean that anyone's radical. We're just been reading the Quran.
So different to what is on the news and the narrative at the moment, isn't it? That the fact that the police were so suspicious of you, basically they thought you were a terrorist, would you say? Or based on,
something like that, yeah.
That's absolutely
and
insane.
that couldn't be further from the bloody truth.
Yeah. No, I know you. I mean, we haven't hung out in ages, but you're one of the most lovely, caring, peaceful and funny people I've ever met. And, so that's why I wanted to get your story out. Yeah. And so, like, what would you say is a moment that you felt like you had crossed a line? Or can you talk as well? You can always say, like, allegedly, like this is edited, by the way, so we can do whatever.
Yeah.
But
when I went into jail, into Belmarsh for the first time, and I went in there severely mentally unwell, they should have never put me into Belmarsh with my state of mind. I believe that I should have been sectioned and put into a mental hospital because I was completely and utterly insane. I used to think that my sister, when I called my sister for advice or for help, I thought that she was an AI bot talking to me and that the government were listening into everything I was saying. I thought there was people living in the walls. I thought walking down the road, as I said, I never used to leave the house without a bulletproof vest on. Like, things were bad. I should have been put into a mental hospital, but they put me into Belmarsh. So it was my opportunity then to take myself away from all of the bullshit out in the world, because out in the world you've got distractions everywhere: drink, drugs, gambling, cars, women, whatever. Inside you have yourself and your creator. So you have yourself and you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I was inside, I really just made it my focus to get closer to God, myself, to eat right, to drink well, to exercise, to keep myself strong, to keep my body and my mind strong. So the turning point for me was really being inside of jail and having that time to reflect on the things that, because listen, I'm not a career criminal. I'm just a person who's made some mistakes in my life, right? So my time was in jail to be able to focus and get my mental health back to where it needs to be. Now, I somewhat succeeded until about 3 or 4 months ago, where I was rearrested months for ABH again, assaulting a police officer by beating. Because it's they raided a house that I was in, same thing again, same bullshit, them pointing guns at my face, me just absolutely losing the plot, and then just ended up bottling the police officer. If he hears this, I apologize, didn't mean to hurt you, it was just my psychosis at the time. But I thought I turned a corner until this point, but then I realized that I'm a human and I'm not infallible. I am prone to mistakes, and at that point I can say it wasn't drug induced. It was. It really was. It was of an organic nature, and I can actually say that. May the Lord for God forgive me. But at the time of the psychotic episodes, I'd stopped praying, I'd stopped reading the Quran, and I'd stopped practicing Islam. So it felt like, because I turned my back on God, God used God strikes us with illnesses and calamities for us to come back to earth and for us to realize that we're only humans and without accomplish anything. And if we don't keep God within our lives, if we don't have the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will fail. And in my own personal opinion, in life, without God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will fail. So that was another thing for me. When I came out this time, I came out so clean, so hopeful, so strong in my faith and on my deen that I know now that if I don't continue to practice what I preach, and my life is going to go one way. And there's only two ways. You've got Jahannam and you've got Jannah. You've got paradise and you've got hellfire. And if you live a life of haram, of drinking and sex before marriage and gambling and taking interest, you're going to go to Jahannam, which is where you don't want to go. And if you live a life of charity and righteousness and good deeds and praying and being a good human being, you go to Jannah. And it's not too much to ask. I mean, there was a man died, and he went to in front of his creator. Allah said to him, if I said to you, give me the world full of gold for your life back in this world, would you accept? The man said yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the man, that during this life, I asked you for something a lot less. I asked you not to associate anyone with me and partners, to worship 5 times a day, and to give charity. And now it's too late. Your life is gone. So for me, if you don't live by these rules, you're going to a place that's never ending, and it's going to be torment, because this life is a prison. This life is a test. Try and make it. Try and. Mm-hmm.
It's hell on earth. We live in hell as well. I agree, I think, but obviously there is another. Yeah. And that's great. And I'm really, really glad you found that. I was so worried about you several times. I mean, you've obviously been worried about me too, because I've been through something but I was so worried about you. I thought I've told my mum this before, like I'm going to get a phone call or see that Shane's gone several times.
Yeah.
It was. Have you ever had any near-death experiences, like that have showed you something godlike, or to do with your religion?
So there was a time when I was having a psychotic episode, and I was a Muslim at the time, but I wasn't practicing, and I was in a mental institution. I was in a mental part of a hospital, and they were trying to treat me, but I didn't believe they were who they said they were. So the police didn't know what to do. The police have been told, because I've not even gone into this. The police before they handled me so brutal. So I've had a heart attack due to the police in the past. Yeah. So on their records, it does say that Mr. Banks suffers with heart conditions, and he does suffer with psychosis. So handle him not with kid gloves, but handle him with a little bit of an understanding, as opposed to every single time. I've been tasered about 6 or 7 times now. I can't even begin to like. They just see this lump come out, and they think, right, he's violent, taser. So they were on the process of trying to get me into this mental hospital to section me, but they didn't know what to do. So they outside of this hospital, so I was free to just wander around. Now I had a thought in my head: they're going to get Hitman to kill me. So I ended up climbing onto the building, climbing onto the roof of this mental unit, and it took about an hour and a half. The police, the firefighters, the medical staff, they were all trying to get me down. And I was saying, I'm not coming down, because if I come down, you guys are going to kill me. I'm not going to come down. And then a voice in my head said, if you run as fast as you can, and this story's up now, if you run as fast as you can and jump, wings will sprout out of your back, and you'll be able to fly to the next building where you'll be able to effect your escape. And I did that. Yes. And the next thing I remember is waking up 2.5, 3 weeks later with a ventilator down my neck, and I was in a coma. So that was probably my most near-death experience. And during that time in my comatose state, I was completely. I don't know if you've ever been in a coma, or if you've ever spoken to people that have been in comas. It is traumatic. Like you're with it, like there's people around you, but you feel like you're being tortured. You've got tubes down your neck. You've got, excuse my language, you've obviously got catheters in your bits and bobs down there. So during my time in the coma, I thought my penis had been chopped off. I thought that I was being dismantled, and they were taking organs out. So when I came back to, I was like. I was terrified. I thought I'd been tortured for the last 3 weeks. What's happened? So that was probably my nearest death experience. Like I was apparently I was about 2 or 3 days until they were going to turn the grace of God. I woke back up, so I was back to life.
Oh my God!
So that was
I don't know how
that was strong.
You're so strong, Shane. Like going through that's like my worst DMT trip. But do you say for 2 weeks?
2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks in the coma. Yeah.
God, I don't know how. You must be like the strongest person alive. Seriously, like that's fucking insane.
There's a time and a place for us all, and in Islam we believe that everything is written. So our destiny is already been written. If the oceans were ink. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written down everything, we would still need to use 2 of the oceans to refill the pages. So the pages have now written, they've dried. So our destiny is preordained. So we are not in control of what eventually happens to us. So we just got to try and live as good as we can. And I mean, me jumping off that roof, it wasn't my time to go, and God obviously to heaven or take me to hell yet. So I'm still here to be able to repent for my sins.
I'm
essentially.
so glad you are. Yeah. And I'm just one more question about, I just want I'm interested because I've like nearly I thought I was nearly going to go to prison, but I didn't. But so what misconceptions did you have about it before? About, what was it called? Belmont. Yeah.
Belmarsh,
So
HMP Belmarsh.
do you believe that is a good way to rehabilitate people? Do you think that, what was the worst thing that happened in there? And like, what misconceptions did you have about it before?
Prison. So the prisons that I've done HMP Elmley, HMP Belmarsh, HMP Pentonville, HMP Thameside, HMP Wandsworth, and HMP Brixton. All these prisons are exactly the same, other than just obviously different members of staff. Now, prison isn't a good rehabilitation tool for someone who wants to use drugs, because drugs in prison and drink gambling is all there. You can do whatever you bloody want in prison. It's just up to the individual what they want to do. Like if you're a heroin addict or a crackhead on the street, you can be a heroin addict and a crackhead inside of jail. Like, I mean, the prevalent drug in jail is spice, so people are there just spiced up off their heads all the time. But it's up to you. It's a choice. It's a choice. If you want to sit there and waste your time getting high and making a fucking fool of yourself and spending your time on basic, obviously in jail you've got IEPs, so you've got basic, standard, and enhanced. If you're an enhanced prisoner, which it means you get extra gym time, more visits, extra privileges. If you're standard, it just means you get standard stuff. Every time I've been in jail, I've always worked and I've tried to be proactive and keep myself fit, healthy, as I said, going to the gym, eating well. But the jails, they're not places of rehabilitation for the person who's not in the right frame of mind. If you want to be a druggie, you're going to be a druggie in jail. It's really up to the person. It's up to the person to take a grip of their life and get their shit together, really, because it does give you, when the cell door closes, you can sit there and get high all night, or you can sit there and educate yourself, and you can read, you can think about the mistakes you've made in your life, you can plan for your future, you can obviously have contact with your friends and family in the outside, and you can really look at it and say, do I really want to spend the rest of my life in a fucking place like this, where sometimes in places like Belmarsh, you're locked up for 23 and a half hours a day, so you really have a lot of time to just think. So
does that not make
it
you
really is insane?
Yeah.
To a certain degree, yes, it does. It can make you start to lose your marbles a little bit, yeah. But it also it's starting to rain. Yeah. It is what you make it. Jail is what you make it. If you want to waste your time in jail and use your time ineffectively, then you're going to come out a loser. If you want to use your time effectively in jail and rehabilitate yourself, there's a chaplaincy. If you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're Hindu, if you're any other religious denomination, you can practice your religion in there. And my advice to anyone that does go away is just to do that. It's just to get closer to whoever your God is, get closer to your God and become a better human being. And you should come out a better person for it. And it gives you a bit of a deterrent. Like, you don't want to go back.
So, sorry, everybody, it was raining in England. Of course.
Welcome to England.
Yeah. So, okay, in terms of like now then, what relationship do you have with your past now?
Relationship with my past? Obviously, everything in life happens for a reason, and we can't forget all the traumas and the pains that we've gone through. But it's also important for us to use those traumas and use those pains as a bridge to the next life and to revert back to how we used to be. So let's take, for instance, I lost my mother and my father, and I have a very small family. The goal now is to build a big family and to live a long life, and to be proactive in the community, and to do right by other people, and to stay out of jail, and to build a business. I mean, I've started up a recruitment company that we're starting to develop now. Wow. That's in the making. Obviously, I've going back to work as an engineer, where the goal is now to obviously become better. I've had job offers from like Thames Water and stuff, but ideally I really just want to work for myself and build a business. And now I've got the opportunity. I mean, I still have some cases pending from obviously before. I still am on bail for several offences that I've been accused of doing, but once those are all God willing, they will all. I'll be found not guilty for those, and then I'll be able to rebuild my life back. So we can't forget past traumas, but we need to use them in as positive way as we possibly. So what doesn't kill us essentially makes us stronger. So whatever happened to me as a child, it hasn't killed me, and it's only made me more resolute. And what happened to me as a child makes me just want to allow my children never to have experienced these kinds of things or go through these kinds of pains and traumas.
Yeah. Do you, strange, hard one, because I don't, but I don't have a faith or whatever. Do you forgive the people that hurt you along the way? And do you forgive yourself for people you might have hurt along the way?
The people that did stuff to me as a child, I don't know them, so I can't forgive them. And it's not for me to forgive, it's for God to forgive. And the God that I believe in, I believe that the people that wronged me will go to hell for what they did. I don't believe I've ever done anything so wrong in my life that could warrant me in hell. So I hope anyone that I have wronged in my life would forgive me. And I know this is going to sound in Brixton jail. A heroin addict, he came into my cell to offer me help. He said, "I'll help set your telly up," and stuff like that. And I thought, it's all well and good. So I gave him a cap, which is in jail currency is like caps of vapes. So I gave him a vape, and I turned my back for 2 minutes, and he stole my vape, my actual whole my whole body. And so for him masquerading as he was helping me, he was actually in there to rip me off. So for weeks and weeks and weeks, he make eye contact with me. He's like, because he knew what he did. I know it's only very minor, but in jail, things that are very minor can be very, very major. So a few weeks went past, and I didn't like him, and I thought, I'm not going to question him. He's an unfortunate gentleman. I'm going to leave him to his own business. And then one day he came around and asked me for a bit of sugar, and then he came and asked me some milk. And after about 2 weeks, I started speaking to him, and I realized that he's just an unfortunate guy. He's had a hard life. Now, he did wrong me by stealing from me, but I did choose to forgive him. And I know it's simple, but under those circumstances, he's just an unfortunate guy. So I did choose to forgive him. And other people that have wronged me in the past, I would forgive them. And for things I've committed, any crimes I've committed against people, or any way that I've wronged people, I hope that they would forgive me.
For the person watching this who is where you were, drugs, prison, grief, addiction, hopelessness, what would you tell them now?
Grief, prison, hopelessness, and addiction. I'd say that life is not a sprint, and whatever we do, unless you're in the ground, in a box, and are no longer breathing, and people are grieving over you, it's never too late. So until you reach the gates of heaven or enter the gates of hell, it's not too late. You could be 42 years addicted to heroin, and it's never too late. You can always change, and you can always become a better person. And the road to repentance is open to anyone at any point. All you have to do is make positive steps. And God you choose to engage with. My God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I chose to embrace Islam. And I believe that the life that I'm leading is going to lead me to salvation and to heaven. And it's never too late, because, I've never looked at myself and thought I'm a scumbag or whatever, but the levels of drink, I was drinking a liter of vodka a day. I was using cocaine heavily and stuff like that. I was completely insane at the time. But it wasn't too late for me. And it's never too late for anyone. If you make peace with your God and try and make peace with the people that you may have affected or harmed in the past, then the road to salvation is always open to anyone at any point. All you got to do is take those positive steps.
And what would you say, just lastly, to someone like me who's agnostic? I try and stay, I don't harm anyone other than myself, I don't think, apart from breakups and stuff. But I mean, I can be pretty harsh, but I don't commit massive crimes, I don't think, or anything. But I have no God. Sometimes I feel hopeless, but I don't have that physically, I don't have it built in me. I've tried so many times. I've tried going to AA. I've tried believing. I've tried praying. I've tried all sorts of things, but it just intrinsically, I don't have it in me. And I know you didn't before, but I just don't know, what would you say to someone like me who hasn't got a God?
as I said before, there was a big empty void in my life, and the empty void I tried to fill with cars, with women, with drink, and with drugs, and that void was never filled. There was always an empty, missing part inside of me, and the only time that I ever filled that void was with the love, was with belief, and was with the love of God. But for someone who necessarily isn't a believer in terms of a monolithic religion, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, I just believe that if you conduct yourself as a good human being, do right. I know you might do this already, and I don't want to preach to the choir. I don't want to teach anyone to suck eggs. Charity, giving charity, giving advice to someone who might be struggling, a smile, a kind word to someone who might look down, and in Islam, assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, wa alaikum assalam, peace be upon you also. Offer someone a kind compliment, offer them a helping hand, help an old lady across the road. Someone's got enough money to buy milk, they're short a couple of pence, pay for them. Just anything, a listening ear, all of that is charity. Charity is a big part of getting into heaven. And I just think I don't give charity. It really winds me up, and astaghfirullah, I should look down upon people, but you know, the people that donate to someone on the street and then take selfies with it, all that clout stuff.
I hate that. I fucking hate that.
That stuff is so insincere. So as long as you're sincerity in your intentions. So if make the intention to do a good deed and do it without anyone watching, do it without telling anyone, for the pleasure of I know you're agnostic, you might believe in a higher power, but do it for the pleasure of the higher power, and you will find salvation somewhere. You really will. Because I don't give to receive. A lot of the time, if I have a quid, I will give you 50p if you need it, and we can go halves, just because giving makes you feel good. And as a Muslim, giving is part of what we are programmed to do. So for me personally, if I've had I'm a Muslim, but I've drunk alcohol and taken drugs and stuff, but to get back to repentance, pray, give charity, do good deeds, and just try and bring yourself back down to humility and realize that you're only a human being. You're only here for a certain amount of time, and that time goes very, very quickly. So while you are here, just try and make a lasting imprint and make a good impression of your life. Yeah, that's the only thing you can do.
Fantastic.
And also, try and stay away from things that are negative. Like, I mean, I'm a massive fan of music. You know, I love all kinds of music, but like my guilty pleasure is like rap and drill music and trap music. That's my guilty pleasure, right? But all of those things, all that they do is they promote drug dealing, promote violence. Violence, promote sex, promote all the things that we're told, like in all of the scriptures, to stay away from. So I don't know, try and meditate more. I mean, when we pray 5 times a day, like someone broke it down to me like this: praying is like meditation. You first off, you wash yourself completely with water. So you make wudu, wash yourself, which makes you spiritually clean. And it also brings you down to humility, because water is what humans' fabric comes from. Essentially, will come from a droplet of water. And then just take some time out to really, in your heart, make an intention to do better. So that's how I live my life. That's what I try to say. To be Muslim or a Christian or as a Jew or as a Hindu, just do it for yourself and do it for who you believe that is up there.
That's lovely.
And try
Yes, definitely. And I do that, but I'm not going to talk about it, because otherwise then I'm not doing it but I do it secretly. But yeah, no. And thank you so much. Absolutely amazing. Is it Shane Rashid Banks now, or?
My name is Shane Banks, and it's Rashid. The name Rashid means mature and righteous. That is the meaning of the name Rashid, mature and righteous. But because I've already got so many labels put on me by the Metropolitan Police and by everyone else, I don't want to go around and start identifying as Rashid, because they're going to take everything out of context and say, well, this gentleman is a blah, blah, blah. So I am Shane Banks, Banksy, and I always will be Mr. Banks. But my Islamic name is Rashid because I do believe over the years of trials and tribulations, I've become mature because I'm getting older and I'm losing my hair. My beard started growing, so I'm like a Play-Doh man. But yeah, I believe that I've become more mature, I've become more righteous, and I'm trying to be a better human being, and that's all that we can do. And as for yourself, I mean, I know we've both struggled with drinking, drugs, and addictions, and this, that, and the other. But as I said, it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. Sorry, life's a marathon. So take one step at a time. And if you do fall off, just remember that you haven't fallen off to the part where you're not breathing anymore. Let's get back to the start and let's go again. Get back to the start and go again, because that's what life is. Keep in contact with your family and show love and receive love back. Simple.
Ah, bless you. Well, thank you so much, Shane. Love you lots, and love to Natasha.
Love you
and
too.
Yeah, again, really appreciate you coming on. This is episode 3 of Unhinged with Shane Banks, Banksy, and I'll be putting some clips up. Yeah, really, really soon. And well, as long as you are okay with that. And thank you again. You're absolutely amazing, and I hope that the future, you know what I'm talking about, it goes really well for you. And I'll speak to you in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, speak soon. Bye.
Okay, lots of love. Bye. Thank you.